So myself, Yasmeen, co-founder and CEO of eDaddy and co-founder of Spiro. So Spiro is the Africa's largest EV two-wheeler company with about 80,000 vehicles on road. As we are speaking, about 35 million swaps done and 560 plus swap station with a 10 country operation all over Africa. So that's where the journey entirely started. With all these titles, co-founder, but it didn't start here. I would say like that. I didn't walk into entrepreneurship through boardrooms or perfect plans, but I entered through uncertainties. But that's how it is for any women over here, through being underestimated and through figuring out on the go, like how we have to go further. When I stepped into mobility, especially electric mobility, it wasn't obvious choice in the room, not by the gender, not by the background, or not by the experience. But sometimes not being the obvious choice becomes your biggest advantage, right? So that's how it all been. For me, the success is more about impact, how we impact and how do we create impact in the lives. Always we have thought business has to be more impactful on the P&L sheets, but for me it was more on the impact we create and the solutions we provide for the human being and the human community, and also to grow as a community. So back then, I should start our journey as in from India, though we are now as a larger entity outside India, but the whole journey started in Chennai as a very smaller dream to have a fleet operation and three-wheeler. So we started as M Auto, which is known as Makkal Auto in India, and then we scaled it as M Auto for the globalization. We started as a fleet aggregators of three wheelers. So even then, back then, in three wheelers too, we wanted women inclusion to happen. We were very sure that women inclusion and women empowerment is our key. So that is where the first fleet of women drivers in Chennai was formed by us in M2, and that is the largest fleet till date. Even now the fleet has grown into multiple NGOs have come in, and it has grown into a number of 5,000 to 6,000 women drivers in Tamil Nadu. But whereas back then when it started, it was starting from 50 numbers. We did a trial batch of about 200 300 women's, where they were given tedious training and all the licenses were provided, and we tried our best to bring them as a women driver. But the proportion which converted into women drivers riding three-wheeler there in Tamil Nadu was about 50 to 60 initially. Even the first set were 15 members, and from 15 we scaled it to 60, and then now it keeps on going, and now we are at 6,000 numbers. And the auto drivers fleet was the dream for us to initially start with. It was way before then Ola and Uber, but we were a driver company and driver first company. We wanted to serve it for the drivers and by the drivers. That's how the whole motto was. And then we understood that there is a pattern of rise in fuel price, but whereas the pricing of meter fare is kept the same. And you know how the whole meter fare works, and we understood drivers were struggling, and even making the drivers to use meter wasn't giving any sense. Then back in 2015, myself and our visionary leader, Mr. Mansoor Ali Khan, who is behind how the empowerment should happen for women. If not him, for sure I wouldn't be able to do what all I planned for women empowerment and have women inclusion to happen. So he already envisioned to have electric conversions. When it comes to electric conversion, back in 2014 and 2015, it was way early for the market. Only when China was working on electric, he envisioned that we bring up an electric retrofittation solution. Bringing new vehicle was the thing everybody was trying to do, but he thought it otherwise, that why do we have to bring new vehicles when there is an 200 plus thousands of three-wheeler or are already existing in the market. Especially if you see in four-wheelers and two-wheelers, every other brand comes up with 4 to 5 new models. So from owning one vehicle per household to now easily we have two two-wheelers and one four-wheeler very easily per household. So the old vehicles are usually gone for scrap, and it is also creating an biggest burden to the environment. So that is when we cracked the retrofittation solution. That is India's first ever retrofit solution in three-wheeler. In three-wheeler, you see there is no much of developments or any kind of technology comes in. It's always been the traditional vehicle way and the traditional three-wheelers which used to just get upgraded only by from BS2 to BS4 or BS4 to now BS6. But whereas the proper inbuilt tracking systems or the digitalization didn't happen. Even in IC vehicle, we were revolutionary to bring digitalized auto rickshaws, but even the digitalization can happen only with an SOS button. But we couldn't bring it inside the system where we were able to handle the engine ourselves, where the rider safety is in an issue. The fleet operator should be able to handle the whole operating system of the vehicle. This was not happening with the regular traditional ICE vehicles. So, keeping all of that in mind, we came up with our retrofit solution. That is where the entire electrification happened. So, there comes the moment in every journey where you stop asking and you you will tell yourself that I'm ready and we are ready, and you start saying I'll figure it out from there. So that is how we both started saying that we will figure it out from there. So from retrofication we found that market it was too early, but still we continued doing retrofication. We improved retrofication as a solution to retrofication can also turn into an EV infrastructure itself for a three wheeler. So back then it was just a three-wheeler company, but we had a long roadmap. We were very clear for any business to be successful, though we will have a lot of hard days, failure days, but our manifestation board or our planning board, the whiteboard which had all the plans, remained the same. We planned it 5 years to 6 years, how it has to go and what is the roadmap. Starting from retrofication, it can't be alone retrofication and scaling the numbers. It should also be various lined up of products and expansion. We envisioned an expansion rather than only manufacturing and focusing on import from China. We have to focus exporting our made in India product was one of our first target to do. So we focused on Africa markets. We started exporting our retrofit kits from India, made in India retrofit kit. Initially we started with importing from China the components, and then we developed our infra with our fellow ancillary component manufacturers, because we always had a belief system that developing ourselves alone won't be a success or an impact. We have to grow as an company, we have to grow as a community. So we believe every individual in our startup, every core member should grow alongside, and also every other vendor. We usually don't do that. As a business, thinking a vendor as an opponent is not going to help either. So we thought we have to also grow our vendors. That is when we came up with localization of the retrofication kit. And then by 2019 is where the turning point is. 2019, 2020, if whole world has stopped operation, and that is where we were operating at an extreme scale. 2019, we were in a situation where our first set of vehicles were already a whole new pure electric vehicle. So the first launch of retrofitted 13 variant vehicle was launched by the ex-late CM of Tamil Nadu, EPS, Mr. Edapadi Palanisamy sir. And then the second set of new vehicles were ready. For the second set of new vehicles, as soon as the vehicles were ready, than going marketing or getting into the sales, we thought, why don't we put it across an export market? Because India wasn't ready for various variant of vehicle. Various variant in the sense, not only the passenger or the cargo vehicle. We came up with business on wheels. Business on wheels is entirely an impact business model where every business is, even if you can be an cafe owner, you can be an vegetable vendor, where every business is always when they stick to one specific place, there is a high chance of risk for that risk in that business model. Why? Because sometimes in that specific area your business would work, after some season the business wouldn't work in that area, but for you to entirely shift the ecosystem, it would be a bigger cost, and it will make the small medium scale industries to struggle, or even a smaller startup to struggle. So that is when we thought the business should be on mobility. The business should be on the move. The person who is trying to do any kind of business should be able to move according to the season. For example, for specific product, I can say in morning, our one of our vendor used to sell a certain set of foods in certain set of industrial areas where the morning laborers used to have. And by lunch, during the lunch times, he used to move with certain set of products to school side areas where near the school locality he will be able to send. So we made this business model helping the other businesses to grow, to build greenpreneurs, we would say, green entrepreneurs, where they can do the business yet they can be part of this sustainable mobility. So this business on wheel was one among the innovative product. And then we had various products like ambulance, and we did three wheel EV patrol. Certain product certain areas are remote areas, in the sense, not remote in the sense of villages or that kind of remote areas. Even in our city, the four wheel patrol can't reach few heavily congested roads or heavily congested areas back in KK Nagar, MGR Nagar. I'm just saying those places on example. So in these places, we thought this three-wheel patrol will be of a great use, so that patrol police will be able to reach everywhere and they can also contribute. Rather than buying one four-wheeler, they'll be able to buy 3 to 4 three-wheel patrol. So this series, the second set of vehicles which we came with innovation is patrols and ambulance. Three-wheel ambulance, especially to reach primary health care in the villages, it becomes very hard for a four-wheel larger vans to reach in various places. So we came up with three-wheel ambulance. So that's when we understood building product should also have lot of innovation and variation. When you cater to your audience, or when you cater to your end customer only with one or two options, always the product should meet the needs. We shouldn't create a product and try to push or try to put the product into the market which doesn't fit. Rather, understand the market, understand the needs, understand the gap, and build the product and innovation. All this variant of product came up with first ever VCU unit, vehicle control unit. So our innovation of high tech vehicle control unit didn't come up just now in 2026. It came back then in 2019, 2020. But that is much more lesser version than what we have now. But we started from there, because as everything should start from somewhere. It can't be, we shouldn't be waiting for getting it perfect, rather start from something. So that is where we thought we have to start with first version. Back then it was about 3G networks, 2G, 3G networks, but still we wanted to work. Our trials happened in 2G network. So when we came live, it was in 3G network. It was not even 4G, 5G, which we are speaking. And we tried to take the data from the vehicles and understand and build the product for better. So the data was mostly helping us to build the product for better. As we launched and flagged off again yet again by our ex-CM, and we thought this product also has a very big gap in outside India. So we were focusing on Bangladesh, Sri Lanka market, because Sri Lanka was in need of an alternate fuel method vehicle, and we were looking at all this market. But then we didn't think Africa would be a bigger market. So that Africa, unlocking Africa didn't happen. But we were raising funds. Till then it was bootstrapped and we were raising funds. So in that we cracked a deal with a very good group, Arise, a group from based out of UAE, but they operate a very big, larger operation in Africa, in ports and logistic especially, and also in agro. So we had a very good deal with a clause to expand in Africa. So we then understood that Africa has a larger market. So from this, what I would ask other business or any entrepreneur to look at is, always opportunity is lying around us, and opportunity can come in any means. When an opportunity knocks your door, take it. It might not be a perfect solution, we wouldn't be ready for it, or it may be way early. That's fine. We can try, we can perfect ourselves during the course, and we can perfect ourselves in that journey. It need not to wait, prepare yourself for 4 5 years. When you start preparing for a market which you have seen a year before, and you prepare over 1 or 2 years, and when you go with an solution, already somebody else would have tapped the market. Recently I was reading one in one of the articles that they were top Oscar winners. In one of the top Oscar winner, I don't remember the name. That person used to call whole of his crew to prepare a music album, and in midnights, especially, he used to get some ideas, crack ideas by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or it was very bizarre. Sometimes at 3 in the morning. So one of his crew member asked him, "Why don't we do it on the other day morning?" So he said that this idea would would come to anybody else on the other day morning, and my opponent will be able to encash that idea, so I would never be number one album maker then. So that is when this is one of the examples. From this I understood that the ideas when we get, we have to immediately put into action. May not be in a bigger size, but at least in a smaller pilot size. For us it was 1 or 2 vehicles, or even start from somewhere. That is what I would like to do. I like to say to the people. So from there, we understood we have to get on to African market. We sent our first batch of vehicles, and as soon as we sent vehicles, we didn't just like that wait for our counterpart in Africa to receive and give the entire review about it. We thought we as a team have to go in person, understand the market, because these vehicles were especially done for Indian market. So we ourselves put ourselves in ground is what I we learned in all our journey. The biggest plus for us is Mr. Mansoor Ali Khan, our founder, have always been connected to the ground people. He has worked with the drivers. He kept saying the team and to myself that you have to start from ground. You have to start for whom you are building. So we are building it for them. They are the one who are the riders. So you have to work along with them. You have to do the analysis with them. So he used to, even in India, he used to go miles and miles with them. He used to get into the places where they stayed, their area where they stayed. He used to go in the early mornings on the weekends, sit with them, spoke with them. Actually, in our R&D team, we had a lot of riders, drivers. I mean drivers, three-wheel drivers who worked alongside us. Than an engineering graduate, these ground warriors who use our product will give you a better. They give an entirely a different dimension, because we can build anything in designs. We can build anything very different innovative designs. You might think that is a very good product which is going to given a different shape for a three wheeler. For example, we have made initially, before indulging with drivers, we made almost 7 to 8 designs. Those designs were looking so good, so futuristic, etc. But when I understood from our founder that we have to discuss with the ground riders, when we spoke with the drivers, not even 1 to 2% like the designs we made. They wanted the same metal body vehicles where whole India, every other startup were building fiber bodies. They were comfortable having the same traditional setup vehicle but with the technologies. So then we understood we do not reinvent wheel. Wheel can be wheel. So we wanted to bring the vehicle the way they wanted. So these all the things which we understood as an even your gender matters here. Being a woman, getting onto these places and getting onto the your floor, manufacturing floor, you might think that wouldn't be inclusive. First, you yourself have to get into the floor. That is what I learned from him. uh, every time I had a small reluctance to get onto the floor to work with other fellow peoples. I thought they wouldn't be comfortable, and initial reception wasn't good. He said, make yourself, make your position that it becomes undeniable. Nobody can deny you. So make yourself that way. So after finishing my mechanical engineering, I happen to say that my story is very different, because as soon as after my 12th grade I got married. So after my marriage, with the kids, I did my degree and also my business travel. If not, somebody visionary like him wouldn't have given the opportunity. I would have obviously done it, but it would have taken a lot of time. So I keep saying, in many stages, behind the success or behind the growth of a woman, there is always a silent man who would have appreciated you or who would have triggered your emotions in any way. Emotion plays a big way. Emotions can take you, if it's used rightly, it can take you to places, I would used to say. So behind my growth, there has always been one man who stood for me and who gave me the space to play with. I would like to congratulate, and I always keep saying to my kids and to all the fellow men's around me that when we start seeing the potential without even seeing any kind of gender, color, or any of it, we will obviously unlock most of their skills. So this was one such scenario where I felt very uncomfortable initially to get onto the floors, to get working with the riders, get working with the drivers. The uncomfort was also from my side, and also the reception which I got. The reception wasn't that great. Everybody looked at me. Everybody gave a very bizarre reaction. So that is when he gave the confidence that you become undeniable force. You work on it. So I started working on the systems. I started staying late nights without any. It took a lot. It has not been easy. I shouldn't be saying that this has been an easy journey, because you have to juggle between being a mother role, being a woman at home role, and also a woman who heads a business. So it was not about balance, it was more about prioritizing. I would say it's more of priority, when what has to happen and when which role has to work. So that's how it has been. So from those floors we started working, we built the product, and we were on ground in Africa. It's just we two of us, and not even our support staffs or the engineering team or the support R&D team. We just put ourselves into a very uncomfortable situation where we landed in west part of Africa. It is not even South Africa, which was more developed, and that too in an COVID scenario. And in COVID scenario, every other business were shut down mostly, and every other business have to sail through those lockdown times. And one part of the world which was just open and being normal was Africa, that too west part of Africa. The COVID cases were less, with little of restrictions to use mask and thing, but rest all the Africa was working. So from this we understood, when you have such kind of calamities or something which is out of your control, we have to think out of the box where this can work. Even during this period of war, we focused on various other different markets and the product, and we were able to sail through for those 1 month to 6 weeks time. So we went into Africa, and in Africa we have to say that's one of the beautiful country to work with. Any product, it need not to be EV vehicle, need not to be automobile, any product, it has market there. Any product, if you throw it in a Nigeria market, if your product can withstand the initial storm, nothing like that. Many people in Africa used to give this saying, once you get into Nigeria, either you will lose everything or you will become a billionaire. So that's how the Africa market was back then as well. So 2020, putting ourselves there, we understood our three-wheeler is not going to fit into the market, because whole of Africa is an bike taxi market. And rather than being so adamant saying that we will only try to push a three-wheeler, because just because we raised investment, we switched our gears immediately. We thought, if we are able to make a three-wheeler, why can't a two-wheeler? But the time span we had, and the scenarios which happened, and we have to build a two-wheeler in a 60 to 90 days of timeline. We took up the challenge. We just stayed there. We went for a week or so, and then we thought nothing should stop us. We can just continue. We should stay there for longer. How much ever it is, it's fine. We put ourselves into a very uncomfortable state where this should only time where we build. From this, we often have to put throw ourselves in an uncomfortable, entirely out of our zone, to actually unlock our strength and unlock our skill, I would say. So we started building there itself. We immediately made our we took special permissions. We immediately made our Indian factory, our Chennai based factory, to work with in-house staffs. We asked all our staffs to come up with their family members also. We gave them all the places and accommodation inside the factory facility. We made sure 3 time meals is also served to them, and we made them work from there. We took all the efforts to make sure this period should also be made, and that is when our first ever version of two-wheeler was made in a span of 60 to 90 days. Though it was very hectic schedule, we made sure we roll out with that. First 1,000 number we roll out with that, and from there it started, and rest is history now where we stand here. And we always believe we have to be a product company. Product is key here. Anything which you want to build as a, for example, if you're looking at your business is looking at you're an AI company or you're any type company, focus on the product. Product is key. When you put all your efforts in product, the marketing expenses would be lesser. Your product will speak for it. We wanted to bring a product which will grow word of mouth. So that's how we growed from one country to 2 countries, and now almost into 10 country operation. So from there we also understood one more thing. Though we try to bring various level of products or various level of technologies, we have to be also simple sometime, because we messed up by creating extremely technical, extremely technology oriented vehicle. Also we did a sample size, and then we understood from them that they need a very simple solution. They need a simple solution to make their life easy, because in Africa there is no much of mass transportation. I am speaking especially on the west side. Not transportation like how we have the government buses or rail systems or like that. So for them, they need a vehicle for mobility which has to be clean, which need not to be a fuel vehicle. So that is the need. There, I'm trying to give an kind of a Tesla kind of a two-wheeler that will obviously not work. So that was also a learning in due course. Even there, it felt very hard as a woman for me to run entirely a single country all by myself, to go into another new country for the expansion. But what made me go is the grit. I always believed the grit is the thing which you will push yourself to do all the extremes. And from there, we kept scaling on, and that is where Spiro, our first startup, is now a $1 billion valuated company. So back then, when we thought, we founders, we have done an entirely innovation work, and now it is all about the usual operation, we thought we have to step out. At times we should know where to step out. Usually taking an investment is spoken glorified, whereas where you have to exit is also a smart decision to make. You need a history to be told that what is the success you have made. Success at times will be quietly a quiet exit as well. So we both decided that this should be an quite very good exit as well, which we can make it as a very big success story to be told. From Chennai, my journey is from Chennai to Africa to build a $1 billion. But for Mr. Mansoor Ali Khan, a visionary, back then, for about 13 years of hard work, people would think in 2 3 years scaling in Africa we have grown up so fast, but behind that there is 13 years of lot of sleepless night working on the R&D, working on back and forth, various failures than the success. We would have seen number of times failures more, because building a product wasn't easy, and building into a different market without even having any kind of backup wasn't easy. And all these days, we would call ourselves we were successful only in certain things which are I might say that would be the feather in our cap, that making first ever women powered factory in Africa, getting into the market, and the first thing we wanted to do was women inclusion there. The one thing that was inspiring to see there was every woman there were already into entrepreneurs. They were selling any kind of peanuts or cashews in the roadside. They take care of the kids themselves, like 3 to 4 kids even. We even had 16 17 year young adults who were able to have 3 4 kids, and they were struggling hard. So that is when we took care all of them. We made them to undergo 6 months of training, technical training. All of them mostly are uneducated. We did a ample size of 1,000 people.
Miss Yasmin, Miss
Yeah.
Yasmin. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. It is really, really inspiring. We are really, really happy to have you, and we want to listen to you more. Of course, we are noting down your Instagram page, and we're taking the details from Sibec. Due to the time constraint, we wanted Mr. Manzoor also, the founder. to have few words so that we can move on to the next speaker. Yeah, do you mind? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you
No,
so
no
much.
problem. Yasmin will finish. Yeah, yeah. Yasmin is. You can close your short point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just close myself. Let me say this clearly. Women don't need to be included in business. We women are already capable of building it. Have this thought very strongly. And the problem is not about ability. The problem is access and sometimes belief. So for decades, industries like mobility were designed for half the population and expected to serve all of it. This has to change, and it is changing. It's the right time. We people have to step in. Today at eDaddy, we are building something very close to my heart, one of the UAE's homegrown electric mobility system. So I've spoken much about Spiro. I'll just take a minute to say what eDaddy does. So eDaddy is an end-to-end last mile mobility infrastructure, EV infrastructure, and an EV ecosystem, I would call. We are making first ever made in UAE product. We saw this part of world isn't into manufacturing, and we thought that's the space we have to build first ever manufacturing of electric vehicle here. So our facility is built in DIC, Dubai Industrial City, and also we have built the first ever UAE two-wheeler. This one of the UAE's homegrown electric mobility ecosystem, I would call it, designed, built, scaled for real world conditions. Because this point, a point of time and the market, it demands for higher temperature and also for higher speed. These roads were built mostly for the four wheelers which can run in 140, 150, and demands entirely demanding market where a rider has to ride 250 kilometers a day. Making sure that we solve all of this, we made an infrastructure, and we made an made in UAE bike which entirely runs on AI powered VCU, vehicle control unit. So entire rider safety is taken care. Both the mirrors of a two wheeler works more as an blind spot detection and as an camera to detect whatever the facility you call it in a well sophisticated car. We made sure it is in a two wheeler to ensure the safety of the rider and also the other passengers who are in the road, because you can see in UAE the racing accidents due to two wheelers. So we have made that, and now we are building an women powered factory in UAE along with focusing women drivers as well. So we are now focusing 30% inclusion, and we will be there eventually in 50%, might be in a year or max of 18 months. So as a closing, success is not a straight line. It is uncomfortable, unpredictable, and sometimes invisible. But if you keep showing up, keep building, and keep building in what you are creating, you don't just become a success story, you become the reason someone else starts. So I want to become a reason that someone else starts here. Thank you.